We will soon learn more about possible political bias in the Obama-era FBI and DOJ as the House Intelligence Committee votes to make a public memo on the issue. The vote down party lines and spearheaded by Nunes Monday details FISA abuses in both departments and allegedly shows unlawful surveillance of then presidential candidate Trump. It is also expected to show what role the unverified Trump-Russia dossier played in requesting a FISA warrant to spy on the Trump campaign. The memo is now being delivered to the White House as President Trump has 5 days to decide whether it should be published. One America's Hines caught up with Florida Congressman Francis Rooney, who co-signed a letter to Nunes requesting the release of the memo.
Congressman Rooney, I just wanted to ask you your thoughts. There's this memo that's circulating about the FBI and supposedly some FISA warrants which may have been obtained under sort of dubious circumstances. I want to get your thoughts on that, sir.
Well, I've read the memo, and as you know, when I first saw the press about what some of those people were doing, I smelled a rat. And now that I've read the memo, I really smell a rat. And I hope the American people are going to get to realize what these people did firsthand.
And is the nature of the characterization, would you say it's inaccurate or in the ballpark, or what can you say about that?
Well, I really can't talk about the memo per se, but what I read made sense with what I'd heard before. And I think that the American people realized right away that there was some kind of off-the-reservation behavior.
And then, of course, the big news today is that I guess he's the deputy FBI director, Mr. McCabe. It's up in the air as to whether he was asked to leave or is voluntarily retiring. But in any event, he seems to be departing from the agency. I wanted to get your thoughts on that, sir, and potentially if there's any connection, because I know Christopher Wray looked at the memo on Sunday. Of course, his deputy is leaving now. Thoughts on that? Any connection, sir?
Well, I think that as the American people see this memo, like we've had the opportunity to do, they're going to realize that there needs to be a stampede behind Mr. McCabe of cleaning up the FBI and the DOJ. Not to imply that the DOJ and the FBI aren't full of really good people, but a few bad apples can spoil a whole barrel.
I remember interviewing the chairman of the Judiciary Committee, your colleague, Mr. Goodlatte. This was a while ago, and he suggested that there should be some changes in the upper echelons. It appears that may now be happening. Your thoughts, sir?
Well, it looks like it is. And again, the more transparency that the committees will bring to this, the more the American people will be brought in, and the system will self-cure, like it's always self-cured in the past, whether it's Andrew Jackson's spoils, Watergate, Roosevelt's court packing plan. The American people's judgment will weigh in if they're given enough information.
Knowing about Mr. McCabe's background, as I'm sure you're aware, his wife was running for political office in Virginia, received campaign contributions. Do you think something like that, his apparent lack of political neutrality, could have contributed to his departure? Your thoughts, sir?
Well, I don't want to get too close to what's in the memo, but you know, regardless of what his wife's doing, you know, what's been put in print is nerve-wracking to think that things were being communicated by text back and forth, and that Americans, leaders in the DOJ and the FBI, might have had a bias that we don't find consistent with our lofty view of the American impartial bureaucracy.
So potentially Mr. McCabe's departure could have been connected with some of these FISA warrants and some of these other things that have been going on?
Well, we'll know. You'll have the answer to that when you get to read that memo.
I hope that may be soon. Any thoughts on whether or not that will be released tonight or today? I mean, I guess there's a process, even if the committee votes for it. Could you talk about that a little bit?
I think the president has an opportunity to weigh in. I'm hopeful the committee's going to vote for it today, and that the president will weigh in and we get it out there and move on down the road.
Anything else, sir?
Well, thank you for your attention to this. I think, as always, the First Amendment is our biggest protector against tyranny, and we need to bring these things to light in a transparent manner.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate you talking to One American News.
We can use your help. Call your cable provider and kindly demand that One American News is added to your lineup. Call today.